When I'm not on a stage somewhere in the world, I train and coach people to be better communicators themselves. And let's call this speak with impact, whether it's on a stage or in a conference room or a boardroom. The reason for them to want to be better at that is, of course, the outcome. They want better results. They want their strategies to actually be implemented. But you can't do that unless you have a change of behavior. And you don't get that unless you have a good communication. For instance, are you clear in your strategies? Do people get it? And so on. Of course, the starting point in that is always the 3 communication superpowers. If you master them, you're in a good place. Energy, so that people believe that you believe. This is where you show your passion, and it creates almost like a magnetic field. People are drawn to people with energy. You have empathy, so that you connect with the people you talk to. That you show your care. You show your interests. You also make some assumptions, of course, of who it is that you speak to. And then clarity, so that they get you. That means that you are easy to understand and your content is easy to remember. It's not enough that they understand it if they forget it 5 minutes later, because then they won't act on it. This is the foundation when it comes to communication. But then, how do we do that in a program? That's what I want to show you now. Here are the building blocks of a speaker skills program that you can also use, of course. You have storytelling and memory hacks. Storytelling is perhaps the most important of all techniques if you want people to remember what you said. But it's not good enough by itself. It actually needs also relevance and fact. Preparations and dispositions. An effective, sometimes feels a little bit boring, really, really good to have. This is where you create your dispositions, your structure. You ask the right questions in the beginning, for instance, who is it for? What is the purpose? And what are my goals? What do I want them to know, feel, and do, and so on. The next one is visual aids, and many times it's PowerPoint. And we all have suffered from death by PowerPoint. We know how it is to watch those busy, endless slides, and inspiration and energy just goes down the drain. So we need to do something about it to make that better. And it's not only a PowerPoint, but it's a big part of it. Then we go into the non-verbal communication, the energy part, which is the voice and body language, how you look and how you sound when you deliver a message. There's a lot to be done there. Some things can be done also on a virtual screen, but many times it's the full body experience. How do you move on a stage? How do you use your hands in a way to express clarity also with your body language? How do you use tonality and dynamics in your voice to make people feel that you really care about this? Then we have virtual presentations. We've been bombarded with that the last couple of years, of course, and we're getting better, but there's still a lot to be done as well. Those are the 5 modules that I train people in. Many of them can be done as a knowledge transfer, at least, online. You don't have to be in the same room. I propose that the voice and body language will be on site. It's always better to do that, especially if you know that you will have a lot of high-stakes presentations in a conference room or on a stage. Now, the last part over there, at the very end, you can see individual coaching right there. That's something that we often add as well. We add that because that's where the magic happens for so many people. Now we're talking about their specific individual goals and needs. And it could be to just brush off some of the PowerPoints. It could be to do the introduction 5 times. It's to come up with the best metaphor, the best analogy, the best one-liner, things like that. And of course, if we don't have that, we have the group setting for everyone else. But if we do add that part, which sometimes, by the way, is the only thing that some people want. I just want you to do 5 sessions with me personally. But if you have a group, for instance, a department that where everyone has some sort of high-stake presentation going on, where you really want to convince people or you want to influence decisions and so on, then this is really a good program. I have been doing some assessments on this one. This, for instance, is for one where we did 4 months with those modules in mind. And what you can see in the bars is the improvement that they felt they got out of it. So it's everything from emotional connection up to 80% compared to before, visual aids 70%, and so on and so on. Even tailoring to the audience is a plus here, which is really good. clear and memorable messages, and so on. This is what you can get out of that, because now all of a sudden their communication is better, which also will lead to more engagement, better results, and so on. Now, I also did one, for instance, this is another example of self-reported improvement on only 3 hours. In only 3 hours, this is it. Nonverbal communication up 29% compared to when they started, just like half a day before. So there can be real power in also doing the shorter ones, like a half day or a 1-day session. Not, of course, as effective as if you do a 4-month program, but still, there's a lot to be done here as well. Communication shapes behavior, behavior drives result. If you want that good result, perhaps it's not a bad idea to start with communication. For instance, in a speaker's skills program like this. So imagine yourself 1 year from now, and you do exactly what you've been doing all along. Will you get a different result? Probably not. But what if you instead invested in these type of programs, like I just showed you, and the results I just showed you? Would that make a difference? Will you create a positive result based on that? I believe you would, and I think it's worthwhile considering for you as well.